Right. See, after all the concepts which are important to learn Spring Framework, so now I'm giving the introduction to Spring Framework. So first of all, what is a framework? Then easily we can understand. So we know that here it is, we know core Java and we learn advanced Java. And here it is the next one part is a EJB, Enterprise Java Beans. Using the core Java concepts, using the core Java concepts, we can develop system level applications, desktop, or we can call it as a standalone applications. Well, we can develop using advanced Java concepts. We can write a server side programming, web development, all the web applications, but not a huge web applications. Basic level web applications we can develop. But if you want to develop enterprise level applications, if you want to develop, then we can go with the EJB, the introduced enterprise Java beans. But here it is in EJB, the coding become very complex. It's like a 10 to 12 years back story. Right? EJB is hard to learn, nothing but hard to code. To avoid the problems in EJB, right, they introduced Spring framework into the market. They introduced Spring as an open source actually. This is not from the Java organization and all. As a open source, they introduced a Spring framework by which you can develop enterprise level applications easily. The first of all, what is a framework? With a simple example, what is a framework? Suppose we know that collections framework. So why we can call it as a framework? Something which is already ready that directly you can use it. That's all. A framework means something which is ready, you can use it. So that is called framework. That is called framework. In the same way, in Spring framework, not only Spring, any framework, if they ask what is framework means, that is already prepared. In collections, stack application is there, stack data structure, queue data structure, linked list, right? For everything, predefined code is there that you can directly utilize into your application to structure the data and to perform operations on data. In the same way, this framework is also ready. That is, so some problems in EJB, Spring introduced as a third-party open source framework. One simple example I'll explain, right? Not a Spring. There is an example called JDBC template. We know well in JDBC, right? Just to connect with the database and to perform all database operations from Java application, we learned JDBC. But here it is in JDBC, we are loading the driver. We need to establish the connection, statement creation, after that executing the query, any transactions, right? Transaction management we need to do. After that, we need to handle exceptions, closing statements. This is the order. We need to define the code. We have seen with so many examples. But they introduced simply one class in framework JDBC template. In a Spring JDBC module, they introduced one class called JDBC template. We will discuss, is a simple concept only. Here it is, you just take care of executing the query and getting the results. That's all. Get access first from JDBC template. Once you get access from JDBC template, you need to concentrate on writing and executing the query and display the results. No need to take care of loading the driver, establish the connection, which statement creation, transaction management, exception handling, closing the connections, nothing. Everything take care by this JDBC template class. You don't care about that one. You don't care about that one. Simple. That is called framework. Infrastructure. To do your task, infrastructure is already ready. Infrastructure is already ready. For example, this is my Java program. This is my Java program. Some values are there. Some values are there. I just want to arrange in sorting order. No need to write the code for loop inside the for loop, inside that condition, inside that swapping logic. No need to write the code. No need to write the code to sort, because we are already providing a method called sort. You just use this. Instead of writing this much code, we are providing the functionality. You please utilize this. This is called a framework. That's the reason instead of learning the core concepts of Java, it is easy to learn, right, frameworks in Java. But of course, the core knowledge is required, but easily we can learn frameworks. Now the point is, here it is. After this, what is a Spring? What is a Spring? A simple one, a simple definition, but important definition, as you know that. So interfaces coding, creating the abstract layer, in loosely coupling we discussed very well. These are the 4 points. Spring is lightweight. Spring is lightweight means what? Only, of course, everything is a predefined. Necessary modules only. Modules from library or API will be loaded when we use. Unnecessary things will not be loaded into the application, which we are not using in application. That is actually called lightweight. Spring is lightweight. Only the things which we are using will be loaded into the memory while application is running. And what is aspect oriented? Aspect oriented means what? We design we design everything in a module format, separate things. Every module is properly encapsulated modules. And next one is that module we decide when it will execute. I'll explain. When the module need to execute, we decide. It's nothing but, suppose is a logging module, separately we define. Security module, right? Separately we design. Everything we design separately, and we decide when it has to execute. When it has to execute. That is simply called aspect. Sir, suppose error moduling. Suppose error handling, I don't want to include in application. Create a separate module only for error handling. Design the code separately. Sir, I want to just check performance monitoring. Okay. Design it separately. Sir, this modular approach is called aspect. Okay. But when it has to execute, that is called advice. Based on the advice, the module executes. So few advices are there. Somewhat before some code, after some code, around the code, it has to execute. Where it should be applied. Where it should be applied. Few more are there like point cuts, join point. So many are there. Simply to say, aspect oriented programming means what? Everything we are not writing in single application. Every module we develop individually, separately, and we decide when the module executes in program, when logging executes, when security executes, when error handling executes. That is simply called aspect oriented programming. And we know that what is inversion of control. What is inversion of control? So that is already we have seen. It's a loosely coupling concept. Don't use tight coupling. Whenever you are taking the mobile, don't use the SIM card. Directly is a Geo SIM card. That is nothing but tight coupling. Right? What is a loose coupling? Just make it abstract type. It's just a SIM card. It will accept any type of SIM card. It will accept class GeoSIM, GeoSIM implementing the functionality of a SIM card, abstract layer. This I have explained very clearly. Airtel SIM also implementing from the SIM card. Right? This is actually called tight coupling. And this is called loose coupling. Is called loose coupling. Inversion of control means what? Avoiding the concept of tight coupling, introducing the concept of loose coupling with an abstract layer. That is inversion of control. Sir, what is dependency injection? See, here it is. Whenever you implementing that loosely coupling, okay. How you will inject this dependency? SIM card. Two types. One is constructor injection and second one is setter injection. Constructor injection, setter injection. But these injections from so many options are there. That is XML configuration, Java based configuration, annotation configuration. That is Java based, of course, we can say auto wiring, interface injection. So many are there. So implementing all these things, simply we can say that Spring. That's why if anyone asks what is a Spring, Spring is lightweight, Spring is aspect oriented, Spring is inversion of control, and a dependency injection framework. Lightweight means only the necessary modules will be loaded when we are using the application. Aspect oriented means what? We are writing, we are defining the modules as an individual and encapsulated modules, and we decide when these modules should execute along with application, before or after or around with advisors. It's an inversion of control, avoiding the tight coupling and implementing the loosely coupling concept. When you are implementing the loosely coupling concept, how we inject the necessary dependencies using the constructor injection or using the setter injection. And those things we are passing through XML configuration, Java based annotation configurations, or using auto wiring. Once we introduce the programming concept, all these things become very easy. Hope you understood the introduction part of the string. From the next class, right, I will start writing the codes. using the spring.